second type of receptor family we are not going to discuss now, but we would move on to the third and then fourth type, and then we would go again and discuss the second type. And for the third type of our major receptor families, we have receptors which called enzyme-linked receptor. And as the name describes, these type of receptors are linked to an enzyme. Part of them is an enzyme. So let's have a look. And a classic example of these receptors are the insulin receptors. Let's see how these receptors work. This is the receptor of insulin, and insulin binds here to these subunits outside the cell. And this receptor of insulin is, or part of it, is an enzyme that is called tyrosine kinase. Tyrosine kinase. So this receptor is linked to enzyme called tyrosine kinase. Tyrosine is an amino acid, and kinase mean the addition of phosphorus. So when this enzyme works, it adds phosphorus to tyrosine amino acid. So what does that happen when insulin binds to this receptor? When insulin binds to this receptor, tyrosine kinase is activated. So tyrosine kinase phosphorylate tyrosine. Where is this tyrosine? This tyrosine is on the enzyme itself. So tyrosine kinase phosphorylates tyrosine residues on the receptor. Any receptor is protein in nature, so it's basically amino acids. One of these amino acids is tyrosine. So when insulin binds to the receptor, it activates tyrosine kinase, and tyrosine kinase phosphorylate or add phosphorus to tyrosine residues of the enzyme itself. So what happened? We call autophosphorylation, because there is phosphorylation to the enzyme itself. So the enzyme which is linked to the receptor phosphorylates tyrosine residues on the enzyme itself. And when this happens, there is cascade of actions that happen. We don't need to discuss it, but this cascade of action leads to phosphorylation of many proteins inside the cell, and that causes the biological actions of insulin inside the cell, and it also leads to the recruitment of GLUT, which are the glucose transporter, to the surface of the cell membrane. So this helps in the transport of glucose from outside the cell to the inside the cell, which is the role of insulin in our body. So that was the third type of receptor family, which is the enzyme-linked receptor.